Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Expium's Jira Work Management for All webinar. So first, I just want to thank you for joining today. I really hope you find this next hour to be very valuable and worthy of your time. My name is Jason Kidner. I am an enterprise solutions architect here at Expium. I'm also a safe practice consultant and an Atlassian certified professional. I am going to be your tour guide for the next hour as we walk through various Atlassian tools and different examples of how those tools have helped all sorts of different types of teams with their work management. I am joined today by my colleague, Kylie Braun. She's going to be monitoring the Q&A area, and we'll also be posting in some various links into the chat that will hopefully help you out. And just wanted to also say, as you can see on this slide, that Expium is now a proud Valuantis company. So just a few words about our agenda. It's very straightforward. Going to have a couple of introductory slides about doing work better as teams. And then we're really going to jump into 5 different examples, real-life examples of things we've done with our clients using Atlassian tools. So we're going to walk through those. I'm going to demo a lot in various Atlassian products. And then at the end, we're going to have time for question and answer. So if you do have questions, please put them in the Q&A part of this Zoom call, and I will do my best to answer them at the end. So a couple of just introductory thoughts. So this webinar is called Jira Work Management for All. And though it is titled that, it's not going to be all about the Jira Work Management product, but we are going to demo that. This is going to be our first example. Really, over the next hour, I'd like to show you an array of Atlassian tools and various processes that will help you and your team work in a better way. Again, no matter what type of team you're on. So a couple of thoughts around working in a better way. So this could look like making work visible, having clear next steps in processes, making work collaborative, using flexible tools that change as quickly as your environment changes, and shifting your mindset from doing more work in less time to generating more value with less work. So you're really going to see here these themes of making work visible, collaborative, and providing value. Whoever your customer is, whether it's an outside external customer or an internal customer in your organization, how can you as a team provide as much value as possible and doing less work? So you're hopefully going to see all these things be on display through this webinar. And we're going to be looking at tools definitely here, but just a word about people, processes, and tools. So all 3 of these things are really key to whatever work you and your team and your organization are doing. So I show them in this order here: people, then processes, then tools. Okay, there we go. I show them in this order because people are foundational, right, to anything you're doing, right? And then those are followed by processes that are focused on value and collaboration. And then finally, you have tools, ideally flexible tools, that support and don't hinder your people and your processes, okay? So just want to really clarify that tools can be incredibly helpful. And I'm going to show you some really cool demos and see how you can use Atlassian tools that are very flexible and very helpful. But tools by themselves can't solve your people or your process problems, okay? So now as we're talking about these things, let's turn our attention to some of these great tools in the Atlassian ecosystem and how they can hopefully benefit any sort of team, not just software development teams. So here's a few of the Atlassian tools we're going to cover and highlight today, some a bit more than others. But Atlassian tools, as you may already know, they're ubiquitous. They're likely already being used somewhere in your organization. We often work with business teams who are ready to purchase Atlassian products, ready to start using some Atlassian products, and then they're surprised to find out that some other group in their company or department in their company are already using them. So from there, all these teams need to to know is basically how to customize those tools to meet their needs, how to work with the owners of those tools to get them to help them out. But if you don't have these Atlassian products, these tools are very inexpensive overall, and they're very simple to get started with. You don't typically need to go to your VP of procurement to get started with Atlassian products. So all these Atlassian products are really designed around teams to help teams work better. So they're collaborative, they're flexible, they're scalable. At the top here, we have the Jira products, a set of products. You have Jira Work Management, Jira Software, and Jira Service Management. So all of these products, again, are meant to help collaboratively plan and track and visualize work, both for, again, for teams, potentially and to also potentially work with internal or external customers. That's where Jira Service Management comes in. Then we also have Confluence. That's Atlassian's wiki-style documentation tool. And there's a lot of really tight integration between Confluence and the Jira set of products that we'll show you shortly. There's also Trello, which is a board-centric tool that many different types of teams find valuable. You can even get spun up with Trello and start using it for free. And so again, some of the people in your organization are probably already using Trello off on the side somehow to help with manage their own to-do list. So there's a lot of other products out there in the Atlassian ecosystem. These are the ones we're going to focus on. And again, we're going to be looking at these at a very high level. We do have other webinars that are going to focus more in depth in some of these products, especially like Jira Software and Jira Service Management. Okay, now we're going to get to our practical examples. This is going to make up, again, the bulk of our webinar today. So we're going to go through 5 different solutions that we've built for our customers. So these are actually like real life things that we've done. So all of them are based, again, on the better way to work principles that I discussed earlier. And again, I hope that some or all of these will resonate with you. So first off, well, we'll go through the list here. We're going to do task management, then project management. Then we'll focus on hiring and onboarding. We'll look at service desks and how a service desk could be used for any sort of team. And in our case, we're going to look at an HR service desk. And then lastly, we're just going to look at centralized knowledge and with a focus on a Confluence page. All right, so let's get to example number 1, task management. And you'll see this pattern of how we're going to look at each of these. So who is this solution for? Well, it's for everyone. Okay. And what are the problems that teams face or any type of team faces? Well, it's what do we have to do? Is everything up to date? And who is taking care of that? Like who's responsible for that particular work item? So the solution here is centralized task management with multiple views, getting away from spreadsheets that might just be on somebody's local computer to something more centralized and more visible. So the tools that we're going to look at are Jira Work Management. This could also be done in some other Jira products, but we're going to focus here on Jira Work Management. So I'm going to jump over into our Expium demo site. This is a cloud site. So, and yeah, all the things I'm going to show you are out on the cloud today. So this instance has all of the different Jira products, but we're going to go into one of the projects here that is a business project or a Jira Work Management project. And Atlassian has been investing a lot in Jira Work Management. Used to just be called Jira Core. And you see, you're going to see a very different UI than what you might have been used to in the past. And certainly you're going to notice the differences between this and Jira Service Management or Jira Software. So first off, when you come into one of these work management or business projects, you have a summary. This is an out-of-the-box like dashboard for the project that you can see certain things, activity, some status overviews, priority breakdown, the type of work that you're doing within the project, team workload, things like that. So it's an out-of-the-box dashboard that could be very helpful. Then you have a number of options here that you can see at the top as different tabs. So this is different than your typical left-hand menu that you see with other Jira products. First off, you have a board. And this looks similar to some Kanban boards and in the other Jira projects. This is a little bit different and not as customizable as a Jira software board, but you can see here it's very similar where you have columns for different workflow statuses. And then each of the cards on the board represents a different work item or what's called an issue within any of the Jira projects. So, and you have different types of work items. These purple icon with the lightning, that's an epic. Then you have the checkbox, this blue checkbox, that's a task that would fall under as a child of an epic. And you also even have things called subtasks that are children of tasks or stories. So you can see these here, and then whenever you're working on them, you can drag and drop a task from one column to the next, moving it along the workflow. So you can always kind of see what status or what state a given work item is in on the board. And you can always click on any of these cards, which will pull up a view/edit screen. And you can adjust all these fields. You can even adjust the workflow status and get to other different operations that's available within Jira. There's also a list view. This is very unique to this. You don't see this view in Jira Software or Jira Service Management. This is, you can see it's like a grid. It very much looks like a spreadsheet. So those of you who primarily work out of spreadsheets, you can see how you can bring those sheets in here, all those work items, and track them, and you can update them very nicely, just like you can in a spreadsheet. You can see how I can click on these and update them. And I can adjust the columns, move them around, do some bulk editing, things like that. And then I can also click on any one of these and open up that larger view screen that I showed earlier. So very visible. Everyone that's in your project can see this, can potentially have rights to edit this as well with you, or be assigned to work as well. Another feature of Jira Work Management is a calendar. This again is a newer feature of Jira Work Management projects. So based on the dates you have on your given work items, they'll show up on the calendar, and you can see we're here on July 6th. So work items that were scheduled in the past are showing up as red because they're overdue, especially if they haven't been completed yet. And then you can go forward and go into the future, and you can see what's coming up as well in the future. So that's built in, again, utilizing some of the underlying system date fields. There's also a timeline option. This kind of looks like a Gantt chart or a roadmap. So this is fairly basic, but it does allow you to see your timeline, a timeline view of the start and end dates of given things. And you can also add in, let me see here, you can add children issues underneath. So you could add a subtask under a task for an epic. Let's see, it doesn't look like it's set up there for epics, but you can add subtasks under tasks. And by the way, if I go back to this list view, at the top, they did have an epic, and you can expand this to see the children under the epic. And then I can expand that task and get to the subtasks. So you can see here the native 3-level hierarchy that comes with any Jira product. Let's back up to the features. I did just look at timeline. There's also a forms option. So this allows you as a team to create a form, like a basic form that can be shared to other users within Jira for them to fill out something, maybe like an intake or just some ideas, things like that. So it's so that can be shared, and then those forms can be filled out, and those could become your issues. As you can see here, when a user fills those out, it's going to become a task within this project that you can start to work on. And again, that work visibility is going to be really key and really helpful here. There's also some integration here with the Pages tab, integration with Confluence. And this is also available in Jira Software, Jira Service Management, where you can get quick links over to pages in a Confluence space that are directly tied to the project you're working in. So some nice back and forth quick links to Confluence. And I'm going to skip over, I'm not going to go to every last bit of these projects, but you can start to see all the possibilities here. Again, getting out of spreadsheets, getting into a work management tool that has a workflow, that has the ability to assign work, and various visualizations that you can't get from just the spreadsheet alone. All right, so that is just kind of a general task management solution using a Jira Work Management project. So if we go back to our slides, we're going to move on to our next solution. So this is going to be focused on project management. And who is this for? Well, it could be for your PMO teams, HR teams, marketing teams, really any type of team who manages projects, which is most types of teams, okay? So what's the problem? Well, when managing projects or multiple projects, it's often difficult to keep track of the work when many teams are collaborating or when there's many handoffs even within a single team. So alignment usually comes in the form of standing meetings or manual status reports. And additionally, there could be tracking in Excel or PowerPoint, which again could be hard to share, could be hard to see things and collaborate, and making visibility more difficult. So, and maybe lots of manual updating, lots of just overhead work that really ultimately could be saved and be done in a better way. So the solution here is to make work visible, to automate reporting, and we're going to see that in specifically, let me go back here, specifically in tools in Jira. Well, we're going to look at Jira software. This could be done in Jira Work Management as well. And we're also going to look at how the information in Jira software can then be automatically shown in Confluence, and how that'll save you a lot of time in making your status updates or reports. So let's go into the tools themselves. So for this, I'm going to switch to another project, this time the marketing project management project. And you'll see here very quickly, this has a different look and feel. This is, as it says up here in the left-hand corner, this is a software project, a Jira software project. So, and this particularly has a Kanban board that was created within it to highlight the issues that are stored in this particular project. And so what I want to highlight here is that this particular project is tracking larger, or what are called projects that are using that epic work item or issue type. And again, that sits at the top of this native hierarchy within Jira. So that's going to be our larger bucket of work. So those projects are going to be represented by epics, that purple icon. And underneath those epics are going to be tasks that are going to be created and tracked in order to deliver on those larger projects. And there could also be subtasks potentially, as we saw in the Jira Work Management demo. But I can see these out here on this board. Again, columns representing the workflow status that a particular item is in. And I can click on a project, one of these epic issue types. And I can see here that there are a number of fields on these. Jira is very customizable. You can create lots of different types of fields, and certain issue types can have, issue fields that another issue type doesn't have. So Jira is incredibly customizable. So for our projects here, we see there's a couple of large text fields, and then a number of other fields in this right-hand column around the people, the sponsors, the stakeholders, the dates related to this project, things like that, and plenty of other fields potentially to use. And there's also the workflow dropdown where I can change the status that this is in. So a lot of information is out here. And as we'll see shortly, this information is going to really be the source of truth for this project and how it's tracked and how it's reported on. So as much as possible, you can put lots of great information out here in Jira. And then you can visualize it nicely on a board like this. There's also things like advanced roadmaps that we have a whole webinar about. That's a really cool visualization tool. It's a very robust timeline that's also available if you have the premium tier of Jira software. So, but again, here's our projects. They're tracked, they're created. A lot of information is put in Jira. But now what I'm going to show you is that there's another way of showing the status of these projects. It's by leveraging Confluence. So I'm going to switch over to Confluence. Again, this is Confluence Cloud. And I'm in a particular, what's called a space within Confluence. It's this marketing space. And I'm going to go down here under our pages here on the left-hand menu, and you can see this hierarchy of pages. And I'm going to go to the project alpha page. So this is the page that really corresponds to that epic over in Jira that we just looked at. When I click on this project alpha page, I'll see a number of things happening and how this page was set up. All right, so a lot of things on this page, a lot of cool features here. So some of this is coming directly from Confluence, but a lot of it is going to be coming from Jira itself and that particular project I just looked at in Jira. So at the top of this page, we have what's called a calendar. So this is team calendars for Confluence. This comes with the premium tier of Confluence Cloud, okay? So you have to get that premium tier to get this. But it, as you can see here, it allows you to put different events related to your team, like time off or holidays, this can even pull in various work items from Jira as well, and releases or things like that. So, but it allows your team to kind of stay all aligned together within this page. We also then come over here and I can see directly that this page has a direct link to that epic that we saw in Jira. It's that project alpha epic. And I can hover over this and I can see a bit about it. It's in progress. And I could even click on it and that would take me back to Jira. I also have some tables to help with the formatting of this page. Some of these items like the status, this is coming from Confluence. So it's using a status, what's called a status macro. So these things are being updated manually within Confluence. But then there's also some project details like start date or target start, target end, status. These are all coming from Jira directly. So any updates to these fields in Jira are going to reflect real time in this Confluence page. When I scroll down, we'll see some other things around this epic. So it's showing the current work being done on this epic. These are the tasks that are linked to that epic. And so what we're seeing here is a macro that's bringing in a Jira, it's called the Jira macro. It allows you to bring in a filter of issues from Jira that you want to see. So it's showing this and you can adjust the columns here and reorder them as you want to. So you can very customize this. But this is showing the current work, the things that are not done or not yet to do in progress, those sort of statuses. We also see here another section of the page called completed work. Again, just another Jira macro bringing in the completed work and when they were completed. There's also a couple other out-of-the-box chart features, like there's a pie chart that is showing the in progress, to do, and done, and how you're doing. How are you making progress here on this project? If I scroll down even further, I can see some of the milestones within this project. Again, these are just issues within Jira that are linked up and specifically noted as milestones. And if I scroll down even further, I'm basically seeing various fields, again, brought in from Jira onto this Confluence page. So Jira becomes the source of truth for much of this. Something changes in Jira, it's reflected over here, because you can have different audiences. So you can see this really tight integration between Confluence and Jira. And one last thing, because you can note that this project, or this Jira project, has a bunch of different epics that are representing different projects. And each of those has a different page out here. So when you have multiple projects like this, you can also create what's called a summary page in Confluence. In this case, we're calling it the project dashboard page. So this is just another feature of Confluence where you can pull in a couple different macros and you can bring in and pull in different information from various pages in Confluence into a larger summary page. So I can just come here, potentially some executive wants to come in and see very quickly what's the status of all these projects. And I can see it very quickly right here. And I have click-throughs to get to drill into the actual project pages themselves. But I also see a high-level overview of the statuses and also the dates and sponsors, things like that. So very customizable. And you can even scroll down, and this gives you a window into advanced roadmaps. And so you can kind of get a sense of how are things going with this, where are we at with our timelines. All right, so that is a little bit of how you can use Confluence and Jira for project management. before we go to our final solution examples, just a quick commercial break. So Expium, we are a platinum solution partner with Atlassian. Again, we're a Valuentus company. And so we offer a number of different services. So we do training, do a lot of public training and also private training. So we have a lot of these webinars that you would have seen as you registered for this particular one. We have a number of other webinars. I'll show you some of the ones coming up at the end. But we also have many different training opportunities that you can see on our website under the training section. And so we very specialize in training. We also do a lot of consulting. So this is probably our main bread and butter. So we do a lot of implementation of Atlassian products, customizations of the whole Atlassian suite of products, and cloud migrations, Agile at scale, Jira Service Management or ITSM, and you name it. We also have a lot of full stack developers within our organization, so we can do a lot of custom development work as well, whether that be a part of the Atlassian ecosystem with custom integrations or custom front ends to your products, or it could even mean just other full stack custom development needs that you have within your organization. We have a lot of great experts with that. And what's not noted here is we also do licensing support as well for Atlassian products. Okay, back to our demos. So our third solution here is around hiring and onboarding. Okay, so who is this for? Well, could be for HR teams, but it's really any team who's onboarding new teammates, new team members. And the problem here is, teams, everyone has unique needs. Every team has unique needs and processes that change over time. So this particular problem is really focused on an example of a client of ours. It was an insurance company. And this insurance company was having to hire thousands of people each year. And they had to know that they had this huge pipeline of people for onboarding. They had to coordinate onboarding tasks across multiple teams. They had to sync those tasks with external systems, and they had to meet insurance industry compliance. And this company was stuck in spreadsheets and, again, making collaboration and visibility really difficult. So the solution at a high level was a tailored workflow that provided clear next steps in the onboarding process, and that this workflow also allowed for the validation of information. It allowed some automations for the creation of tasks downstream, and also guardrails to help meet those compliance standards, and also the updating of external systems. So a lot of things needed to happen, and Jira, and with a lot of customization, allowed for those needs to be met. And then also the solution just incorporated a reporting dashboard, and that I'll show you shortly, which was really just a Kanban board. So the tools that were used here were Jira software. You could also use Jira Service Management potentially for this, but we're going to focus in on the workflows and the Kanban board within Jira software. So let's go back to our Jira instance. For this, I'm going to the onboarding project. And let's start on our tier 1 onboarding board. So this particular solution had a need to work with onboarding for tier 1 level support agents, and then also tier 2 level support agents. So this is the tier 1 board. And you can see, again, each of these columns represents a different state or status in the workflow. So this onboarding workflow that I'll show you shortly. So each of these cards represents a different team member or employee that's being onboarded. So I'll click on Florence. And so like we've seen with the other solutions, this again is using Jira software. This is a view or edit screen that I can see information around this particular person. And in particular, I want to highlight the workflow. Again, this is the big piece of this. So to see the whole workflow, I can go under the workflow dropdown and click View Workflow. And so we see this workflow, and this is meant to highlight the different steps to help onboard a new individual. And to also, though it's not really shown here in this view, there's all sorts of things happening in the background, that these various automations and also validators to make sure somebody can't move along to the next part of the onboarding process unless they've ticked some boxes, met some qualifications in a previous part of the process. So you see here we have workflows in Jira are made up of what are called statuses. So you can see these with these lozenges, these gray, blue, and green lozenges. And so in this case, we have recruited, then scheduled, then training, then peer mentoring, finally good to go. And then there's also some statuses for withdraw, no-show, or terminated. So these are potential, again, where could an individual go as they're onboarding? And these various lines in the workflow represent what are called transitions. So a lot of transitions back and forth between different statuses and different paths that somebody could take along the workflow. And there's also, as you can see in this upper right corner, there's what we call a universal transition that you can potentially choose wherever you're at in the workflow. This is a request termination. So this could be used again if somebody isn't deemed to be a good fit for the organization, and hate that word terminated, but that's, yeah, that's part of this workflow. That could happen. So, but what happens is users, the happy path would they be going along here, be gradually getting onboarded, trained up, mentored, and then finally good to go. But they could also go to one of these other places as well, one of these other final kind of state statuses in green. And then within each of these transitions, there could be various validators again that are there that aren't allowing you to move the team member along, or there could, once a team member does move along to a new status, there could be various automations like creating tasks, like get a computer ready, or get their office ready, or whatever it looks like for them to be ready downstream for their next part of their onboarding. And then this could be interconnected with integrations to the HIRS system or other external tools that need to be updated to give updates, or just whatever that looks like within your organization. And then if somebody needs to be terminated, again, there could be a lot of automated things happening with connections to other tools. So that's the tier 1 workflow. And then you can see where people are at along that workflow here. There is also a tier 2 workflow that I'll just cover very quickly. You'll notice this particular board has more columns because it's a little bit more involved workflow. And when we click on one of these team members, it looks like they're in the past status. Let's look at this workflow. So you can imagine this tier 2, these are users who probably were in tier 1, or maybe they just have more experience as they're being hired into the company for that tier 2 level, that little bit more expert level of support that would be needed by customers. So this has a few more steps. So this would go recruited to scheduled to testing. So some test needs to be passed, then they need to be certified. Then there's advanced training, peer mentoring, and finally good to go. You can see here there's a lot more transitions involved. It's not totally just linear. There could be a jumping from one status a little bit further in the workflow as needed. Maybe they're already passed or already have a certification, and they can move a little bit quicker through the onboarding process. And there's also, again, a lot of underlying customizations, validations, automations to help with various things that need to happen throughout the whole process. So this worked really well for this insurance company. In the end, it helped them to onboard thousands of employees a year, allow them to keep in compliance, and allow everyone to really be aligned on where these people are at in the process, whether it's tier 1 or tier 2. So maybe there's some ideas for the onboarding process for your organization. So next, we're going to look at service desks. And again, this isn't going to be a real in-depth thing about Jira Service Management, but you hopefully get a sense of how this could be used, again, for any team. So any team typically has some customers. They don't have to be external customers. So HR, marketing, facilities, legal, all of these teams could have external or internal customers, not just IT. Okay, so the problem is many teams are service teams, even though they may not feel like it. They may serve internal or external customers, and there could be various like multi-channel intake, right? You could get emails coming to your team. Your boss, messages you in Teams or Slack that something needs to be done. There could be a doorway conversation. You could get a phone call. All sorts of different intake like paths, and then all of these come in, and then like, how do you prioritize? There's not a clear way to prioritize these. So are we working on the next most valuable thing? How do we determine that? So despite the best efforts, the services that are being provided, they are being done, but the customers don't necessarily see them, and they wonder what's happening, and so they're bothering you with messages or emails. What's the latest update? And when, man, it'd be great if there was a way to show this real time and let the customers see what's happening. So the solution at a very high level is a service desk that provides a clean intake form that keeps requesters automatically up to date, that allows for some nice back and forth commenting and conversation that can be artifacted. And then also that there would be queues for the team to use on the back end to help people prioritize their work and to respond in timely manners and to potentially meet what are called SLAs. So the tools here are, you could use Jira Software or Jira Service Management. Actually, no, let's go back here. No, this is actually Jira Service Management with potentially some tie-ins to Confluence. So over here, back into our cloud instance, I'm going to go to something we haven't seen before. This is what's called the Help Center. This is a portal that comes with Jira Service Management when you have that product installed in your instance. So what this is kind of the larger Help Center that you would come to. And this would showcase any of the service management projects that are in your instance that are visible to your customers. So we can see here that the featured portals are HR Service Desk and a Facility Service Desk. There's a couple of other portals as well for other needs. Each of these represents a different Jira Service Management project. Let's go into this HR Service Desk as our example. So when I come in here, I can see various request types. So this is all very customizable. Whatever will help direct your customer's needs to the right setup or potentially the right people within your team to help. So this is all very customizable. And also, one thing to note is there's some really great integration, really tight integration between Jira Service Management and Confluence. And that's for your knowledge base or your help articles. So you can visualize that in different ways. Here, we have a whole section down at the bottom that users could come out here and see. This takes us right into Confluence. So your users would come into Confluence to see different help articles. But if I come back here, if I come in and even just ask a question, there is a lot of background help. Let me see if something shows up here. Yeah, there we go. So as you start to fill out your summary here, Jira Service Management is going to be looking up and using the names or the words here in your summary to look up any potential articles from Confluence that might help deflect the need for this ticket to be submitted. So there's a lot of things happening in the background to help try to give your customers the best help they can get, which maybe, again, a knowledge base article could help with that. But if I come back here, just one note for employee onboarding, let's imagine this use case. So when I click on this particular request type, I see a very, very specific form, very customized form for employee onboarding. And so this, again, lots of different options for this. There's a lot of great form tools built into Jira Service Management to create this look and feel. You can see the fields that are required with that red star. Lots of different types of fields here, drop downs, date fields, various check boxes, all sorts of things that could be chosen, and that would then become a part of the ticket that's created in the background to help your service agents, whatever type of team you're on, to help to very quickly help this customer out. And then just to show how this works at a very basic level, I'm going to choose this questions for HR. And just I'll ask, where am I in the onboarding process? And it's trying to help me out, but that's not helped me. I actually want to submit this. So I'll fill out these required fields, and then click send. This then creates a ticket in the Jira Service Management project. And I'm a customer here. So as a customer, this is the view I have. So I see what I've submitted. I see the status that it's in. I can add other collaborators onto this particular, other people in my organization onto this to see the updates. I can send comments to the support team. And then this is also where I'm going to get comments back from the support team. So that conversation that can take place either via this. I'll also get emails as well that I can reply to. And then I can see a whole request area. I can see all the requests that I've submitted here as well. And there's some filters around them. But let me go back to this particular request. And I'm also part of the support team. So when I click on this, it takes me into the back end with Jira Service Management. So you get to see a window into what the support team would see. And so this opens up the view screen on this particular ticket and how it comes in and the details around it and various fields that you can set up again for this. You can also reply to the customer. You can have those internal comments, or you could have comments to the customer, and lots of other things happening here. And this happens to be part of what's called a queue in Jira Service Management. And so I can click here, this questions for HR queue. This is just like a filter, really a filter of various tickets here in this project. And I can see a bit about them, who they're assigned to, what their status is. And you can even start to see there's these visualization of the SLAs, either time to resolution or time to first response. Those can all be set up and customized within your project. So again, service management doesn't have to just be for IT or facilities. HR, legal, other teams within your company could have these. And again, this could be set up adjacent to your team's internal work tracking, with service management acting as the outside intake for your team. You can also tie these Jira Service Management projects very tightly to Jira software projects, potentially even Jira Work Management projects. So, and there could be a lot of automation built in here as well. We see this with many different clients when they're setting up their service desks. So again, very high level. We do go much more in depth in other webinars around Jira Service Management. Okay, let's get to our final solution. This is around centralized knowledge. So who is this for? Well, again, for everyone. So all teams that use knowledge, that have like some knowledge base that they want to share within their team, or potentially to people outside of their team, even to customers, potentially, as we saw with service management. So the problem is teams use many different tools for their sources of information. So finding all those bits and pieces of information can be difficult. So the solution at a very high level is to have a centralized, organized portal for knowledge. And in this case, I'm going to look at the Atlassian tool called Confluence to be your first place to go to organize where to go to find out any sort of information that your team's working on. So I'm going to go back into our Confluence space. I'm going to stick with our marketing space for this. And again, this is something we've built for clients. We even use this internally as well. So every space has an overview page. You can set this up something potentially like this, where you have a table of contents where you can see all the different pages within the space. You could also show a recently updated list of the pages, when they were last updated, who updated them. These are just out of the box, what are called macros within Confluence, different things you can put to change the look and feel and to highlight different things within your pages. And for this, I'm going to go down to the team homepage, just again, to give you a sense of how Confluence could be used for your centralized knowledge. So this team homepage has a bit about this marketing team, their motto, where to find them. And again, there's lots of different links here. So the links don't necessarily have to be links to other Confluence pages. That's very possible. As you can see here, the latest updates, these are links to different Confluence pages. You can have links to any other tool out there. As long as it has a URL, you can put it in and have a nice hyperlink within Confluence. So links to the email, to a website, to LinkedIn, to YouTube. Again, these can all be set up again with really cool icons to make it more interesting. When I scroll down, you can meet the team. Again, these come directly from user information, user profiles within Confluence. So I can see who these people are. I can learn a bit more about them and their profiles. We saw those team calendars earlier. Here's again the team calendar. So I can see what's happening with this team. And then I have these frequently used resources. Again, this is like this idea that you come to this and it's like a signpost that helps you to know where to go to find the information that this team uses or that this team is publishing. And so again, these links could be within Confluence, but potentially they're using some other part of whatever your company's using, whether that's Google or Microsoft or Box or whatever you might be using as a company to store your documentation. Confluence can be that one place to go to quickly get to anywhere else. And so this is a team page, again, highlighting different things like that. Then some other pages here I want to highlight. The tight integration between Confluence and other cloud products out there that aren't even Atlassian products. So there are these quick links. In this case, this particular page has a quick link to a Miro board. And so you can bring those in, and then happen to be a Miro user. And so I can come in here, I can see this very quickly. I can even interact with it in different ways. And I can also obviously go from here over to the Miro product itself to do things there. But there's a lot of really nice, robust link opportunities within Confluence. So that's something to Miro. Another page here will show you this trade show page. This highlights that you can bring in Trello boards very nicely. A lot of different opportunities to bring in Trello boards into Confluence, and notice that these are interactive. So I don't have to switch over to Trello, though I could. But here within Confluence itself, I see a Trello board, in this case for preparing for a trade show, and I can move those different cards around along the Trello board. So, and again, when other users are in that Trello board making updates, when this page is refreshed, I'm seeing real-time updates from other tools within Confluence. So we've seen Miro, we've seen Trello. One other integration that I want to highlight is with Google. So again, this is just out of the box with Confluence. There's, when I put in some links to some Google Sheets or Google Pages, or sorry, Google Docs, they show up and I can scroll through them. And there's quick links here that would take me back over to Google, one of them. So I see a couple of different Google things. So I don't, again, have to switch. I can see things very quickly right here in Confluence. And there's lots of other quick link opportunities that will show very nicely. And there's, if those of you who've been in and used Atlassian products in the past, there are many, many different add-ons or apps for both Jira and Confluence that can help extend the functionality you see here with things like Microsoft or Power BI or other types of tools out there. Lots and lots of integrations available. Some are out of the box like I'm showing here. Some you do have to pay for with apps. So again, this is highlighting how you can centralize your knowledge using Confluence. It's a great wiki tool. Really, Atlassian's investing a lot in this as well. So you can see how it can be tightly integrated with Jira and other products. So we're wrapping up here. So that was our last solution that we wanted to demo. So, so we have some time for questions and answers. If my screen will stay put, there we go. So just by way of wrapping up, and I will get to some questions here shortly. But just wanted to thank you for attending. Really means a lot. Hopefully you have found this valuable and got, again, kind of a high level view of some of the Atlassian tools that can help with Jira work management, whether you're, no matter what type of team that you're on. So you can reach out to me if you have any follow-up questions at jason.kidner@expium.com. There's a QR code here as well that will take you out to my LinkedIn profile, and you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm also highlighting here on this page the upcoming webinars and classes that we have. So you can go to expium.com to register for any of these. Again, some of them, the webinars are all free, but some of the classes typically aren't. Like the third one down is our Jira Bootcamp. That's coming up at the end of July. That's our 3-day masterclass, if you will, on Jira and administering Jira. We also have a Confluence Bootcamp that follows on for 1 day after the Jira Bootcamp. We also have Jira Service Management Bootcamps. We have Jira Line Bootcamps as well. And then obviously a lot of these are these webinars we have that typically take place on Thursdays, either at 11 a.m. Central or 1 p.m. Central. So a lot of opportunities. We'd love for you to check those out. We also have a YouTube channel as well that these webinars are recorded and put out there. We have a lot of other videos, helpful videos around Atlassian products and Atlassian governance as well out on our Expium YouTube channel. And Kylie can maybe put that in. Yep. Yeah, she just put in the link for YouTube. So let me see what questions we have as we wrap up. Okay, so one of the questions is, do you offer training on the tools that you showed today? And the answer is yes. We train on all of the products and we can customize them. You could come to one of our boot camps around Jira software or Jira Service Management or Confluence. We certainly have those. We could piece together training for Trello. Trello is a little more simple to use. And Jira Work Management is kind of, a lot of that is really very similar to Jira software and could fall under really that umbrella of the Jira software training. But we also would love to talk with you. We have lots of different custom training engagements with small clients and very large enterprise clients where we can piece those together. Whatever your company needs, we can definitely piece together a training that will fit your needs. And then we have one other question. How can I find out what our organization already has? So I'm guessing that means what Atlassian products your organization has. Well, you can typically, hopefully you can maybe find out within your company who owns those tools or talk to your IT team about that. Otherwise, you could reach out to us. We can certainly talk to Atlassian to find out if your organization already has these tools and which ones are being used. You can certainly talk to us as well. You can reach out to me and email me if you want, if you're interested in implementing or maybe getting a little bit more in-depth demo around one of the Atlassian products that were highlighted today, or about licensing. What are the costs? How do you license with Atlassian or through a partner like Expium? All right, those are all the questions we have. So it looks like we'll wrap up a little bit early. Again, thank you so much for attending today. And please reach out to me or to check out other offerings that we have on our expium.com website. So thanks again. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.